This is Arkies in the Beltway, your look at national politics and the Arkansans influencing the discussions. I'm Alex Thomas, Washington correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, reporting from the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of November 16th, 2025. After 43 days, the federal government shutdown is over. The Senate and House of Representatives agreed last week on a spending plan to reopen the government. Both of Arkansas senators voted for the measure last Monday. All four of the Natural States House members supported the bill last Wednesday, the House's first votes since September 19th. President Donald Trump quickly signed the bill into law, ending the longest funding lapse in U.S. history. Representative Bruce Westerman of Hot Springs says he's relieved that the government shutdown is finally over.
We missed a lot of work because of the shutdown. We've been working a lot, but not working on legislation and things we've needed to be working on.
The impact of the government shutdown became harder to ignore as it continued. Thousands of federal employees missed paychecks, either furloughed during the government shutdown or required to work without pay. The Trump administration fought to prevent millions of Americans from receiving full SNAP benefits for November, with the administration arguing Congress did not appropriate enough funding for the program. Airlines delayed or canceled flights due to a shortage of air traffic controllers. Representative Rick Crawford of Jonesboro did not fly to the nation's capital for last week's vote out of fear of a flight cancellation. The congressman instead drove 14 hours from Jonesboro to Washington, picking up one of his colleagues, Mississippi Republican Trent Kelly, along the way.
Even on a good day, flying is always a little bit of a gamble with regard to delays and potential cancellations, but we thought the odds were probably increased that there might be an extensive delay or possibly a cancellation.
The government shutdown began after Senate Democrats opposed a funding proposal from the House. Democratic lawmakers pushed for action to extend enhanced healthcare subsidies and prevent a spike in premium cost. President Joe Biden and Congress expanded the Obamacare tax credits in 2021 amid the coronavirus pandemic. These subsidies set to expire at year's end. 7 Democratic senators and Maine Independent Angus King, who caucuses with Democrats, put together the final deal. The plan, however, does nothing about these subsidies. Instead, senators received a promise for a vote next month on the tax credits. So this begs the question, what did we gain from the government shutdown?
I can't name anything that was gained by this. Some people can say, oh, the Republicans won this, the Democrats won this. No, the American people lost because we had this shutdown.
Senator Tom Cotton of Little Rock blamed his Democratic colleagues throughout the 43-day period for allowing the government shutdown to happen. He has not let up on his criticisms.
The shutdown has been needless and harmful.
The government shutdown also a topic of discussion among Arkansas's political candidates. Democrat Hallie Schaffner, who wants to challenge Cotton next fall, says the government shutdown was frustrating.
This is just another example of how broken the system is and how people are crying out for someone who believes that we should be able to come to the table to discuss and solve problems.
Schaffner also frustrated by the inaction on healthcare insurance. She uses the Affordable Care Act marketplace to purchase coverage for her family. Schaffner says herself, her husband, and their 7-year-old son will need to change their health care coverage, noting the cost of their current plan is set to increase next year by roughly $400 a month.
We cannot, as a state, be put in a position in which people are just one medical emergency away from bankruptcy.
Chris Jones, a Democrat running for Arkansas's 2nd congressional district seat, described the Senate Democrats behind the plan as feckless. So what does the shutdown ending plan do? It extends current funding levels for most of the federal government through January 30th. The legislation also includes full-year spending measures covering agriculture, military construction, veterans affairs, and congressional operations. This means SNAP will have government funding through next September. The Arkansas Department of Human Services has issued full SNAP benefits for November. 240,000 Arkansans missed benefits at the start of this month because of the government shutdown. One Arkansas lawmaker played a part in putting together the language on military construction and Veterans Affairs. Senator John Bozeman of Rogers chairs the related Senate Appropriations Subcommittee. He says the plan allocates billions of dollars toward veterans' health care and defense projects across the country.
Military construction is generally underfunded to begin with, so we need to get that out so that we can continue to make it such that we are able to protect ourselves in the future, but also take care of the resources that we have at bases.
The agriculture portion addresses programs untouched by the Republican tax and spending measure from July. This includes services supporting rural development and agriculture research. Bozeman leads the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee. He says these programs have funding through next September through the government shutdown plan, but there is work underway on Capitol Hill on a so-called Farm Bill 2.0, which will update these services.
We were able to get most of the Farm Bill done, probably 80% plus in reconciliation. And we've just got some things we've got to clean up.
The Democrat-Gazette interviewed Bozeman in his Capitol Hill office. Sitting to Bozeman's left was North Dakota Senator John Hoeven, the chair of the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee overseeing agriculture spending. Hoeven, a Republican, was quick to express confidence about possible agriculture legislation and his Arkansas colleague.
He knows agriculture, he's lived it, and so it's both his knowledge of agriculture, but also the fact that people really like him and respect him.
As for the other government programs, the Senate and House have until January to complete the rest of their appropriations work. Representative French Hill of Little Rock says federal lawmakers may be able to make progress on those spending bills in the coming months.
Both chambers had passed bills across the floor, and so we just need the time to do our work and do it in the right way.
The House Appropriations Committee has passed all 12 measures for the ongoing fiscal year. Representative Steve Womack of Rogers is a senior House appropriator, leading its subcommittee on transportation, housing, and urban development funds. None of Arkansas's lawmakers, however, expressed interest in extending the enhanced Obamacare subsidies before the end of this year. Cotton says the subsidies have been badly flawed from the start.
The cost of health care is going up because Obamacare is still unaffordable health care, whether you get your health insurance on the Obamacare exchanges or whether you get it on the job. It simply makes it too hard for families to afford their health insurance, and Republicans want to fix that underlying problem.
Hill also denounces a potential extension, but the congressman says he's open to discussing other ideas for reducing healthcare costs.
I think we need more competition, which is why I've supported consistently over the years ideas that increase competition in the insurance market and transparency in pricing in medical services and in pharmacy.
Westerman has introduced an extensive healthcare bill in previous congressional sessions, hoping to spark debate among his colleagues about comprehensive legislation. He says he's willing to put that bill back on the table.
I've talked to the speaker about some of those ideas. So if the debate gets serious and we want to look at bipartisan reforms that will actually fix health care and get the skyrocketing cost under control, get more people covered, allow people to actually get the health care services that they need, we've got a lot of good ideas on that, and I think a lot of them are bipartisan.
The most recent version of the Fair Care Act calls for boosting telehealth, changing pharmacy benefit manager practices, and promoting consumer transparency. Westerman has not introduced the bill in this Congress. The congressman last put forward the Fair Care Act in December, as the previous Congress was winding down for the holidays. And that'll do it for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of November 16th, 2025. You can stay up to date with all news involving Arkansas at arkansasonline.com. Special thanks, as always, to the team down in Little Rock. I'm Alex Thomas, and this has been Arkies in the Beltway. Thanks for listening.